At the age of 93, Nonna has acquired the look of a saint. Her once short auburn hair, she was always a very practical woman, is now an almost blonde tinged white. It is thick and waved. She's as bent as ever, but she sits now imperiously, poised on the edge of the nursing home chair. She is the empress of a vast nation, one that we are all the citizens of, regret. Her head is now always bent slightly to one side. It gives the impression that she is trying to convey something very important and yet beyond the realm of words. She is deaf in one ear and nearly blind in one eye. She seldom speaks and never goes outside. She does not recognize me anymore. She speaks only of a chubby, almost black-haired little girl named Daniela. This was who I used to be. I approach her and her large, dewy eyes take me in almost sardonically. I am flanked by my brother and his wife. My brother, ever loud and forever painting his own narrative over the world, talks at her while his wife holds a thin, sympathetic smile. He's trying to jog her memory, but is seemingly unaware that she is performing her imperial duties and cannot be disturbed. Nonna, you remember Jessica. Remember I married her and you gave us your diamond ring? Remember? The ring, Nonna, see the ring. Jessica, barely moving, still smiling thinly, holds her hand out as my brother speaks. Finally, Nonna moves her still bent head and she lights up with a smile of recognition. La fidanzata, she says as she moves her left hand back and forth. The very tip of her left middle finger is bent at a 30-degree angle. I've never noticed this before, and it makes me shudder in anticipation of my own impending arthritis. Then, as if on cue, she returns to her empire. I see now the sardonic expression in her eyes as one of knowing. For most of her life, Nonna had dead relatives visit her in dreams. Now it seems these are the only dreams that she has. I imagine that her sunless days here are bookended by these dreams and thoughts of her nameless first love. She would not marry him. She had no money for a dowry and was deeply ashamed. He came from a slightly better off family. And whether out of love for him or masochism for herself, she refused over and over his offers of marriage. Eventually, when she was heavily pregnant with my mother, she bumped into him by chance on the streets of Rome. He had become a police officer. He pointed at her swollen belly with tears in his eyes and declared, "That should be our baby." Instead, Nonna married the town orphan, my Nonno. They've spent their 63-year marriage hating each other, and yet he occupies the room neighboring hers. My mother says that when she was a little girl, Nonna would often turn to her and say, "If I had known marrying your father was going to be like this, I would have become a prostitute instead." I leave Nonna's throne to go and cry by the nursing station hand sink. Nonna doesn't notice. She doesn't know a fat 35-year-old divorced and childless waitress named Danielle. Somewhere in the ethers of time, a child named Daniela is collecting stones from under her grapevines, running her hands along the fuzzed leaves of zucchini or peering anxiously into a gopher hole under the greenhouse.